Hello friends, welcome to ABHQ's channel. In today's video, we are going to configure SVI on layer 3 switch and also a default route from layer 3 switch to the router. Okay, so in this topology, we have two VLANs, VLAN 5 and VLAN 10. VLAN 5 subnet is 192.168.1.0/24. And VLAN 10 subnet is 192.168.2.0/24. I configured the IP addresses for each PC already, and each color on the PC represents their subnet and VLAN. For example, PCA is in VLAN 10 and in subnet 192.168.2, and the IP address of the PC is 2/24, and so on. I have already configured the VLANs and also trunk on the interfaces of layer 2 switch. The configuration on layer 2 and layer 3 switch for VLAN and trunks are very identical. So I'm going to start on layer 3 switch and configure VLAN and trunk first. Let's go to layer 3 switch. I'll type enable to go to global configuration mode, configure terminal, and in here I'll create VLAN 5 exit and VLAN 10. So two VLANs are created on layer 3 switch. So let's assign the interfaces connected to layer 3 switch to their appropriate VLANs. In this case, I have turned off the labels for my topology. And if I hover my mouse over the cables, I can see the interface labels. So I changed the option from the options preferences, and I turned off the always show port label in a logical workspace, and I turned on this option show port label when mouse over in logical workspace. Okay, so PC3 is connected to F01 interface of layer 3 switch. Let's assign that interface to VLAN 10. Interface F01 switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, exit. Let's configure the PCD to VLAN 5. The interface is F02. Interface F02. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 5. Okay. So I'm going to configure this interface as trunk, and then we're going to create SVIs. G01 interface. Interface G01. Switch port mode trunk. Okay, so the command is rejected. It is because we need to specify the encapsulation type first in order to create trunk on this layer 3 switch. So I'm gonna type switch port trunk encapsulation .1q. Okay, so now we are able to create trunk. Switch port mode trunk. Let's allow only VLAN 5 and VLAN 10 to go through trunk. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN 5, 10. Exit. Let's confirm do show interfaces trunk. Okay, so G01 is trunking, and VLANs 5 and 10 are allowed via this trunk. Okay, I'm going to show you the VLAN and trunk configuration on layer 2 switch as well. Enable show VLAN brief. Okay, so the VLANs are configured. Show interfaces trunk. The trunk is also configured on layer 2 switch. Okay, so now let's create SVIs for subnets to be able to ping each other. So let's first ping from one PC to another PC and see if the ping works or not. I'll go to command prompt. First, I will ping from PC A to PCC. They are in the same subnet and also VLAN. They should be able to ping each other. So first I will type ping 192.168.2.3, the IP address for PCC. Okay, we are getting replies. And this time let's ping from PCA to PCB. They are in different VLANs. They should not be able to ping each other. Ping 192.168.1.2. Okay, the pings have failed. Let's create SVIs on layer 3 switch for these two subnets in order to route between these two subnets. I'll click on layer 3 switch. The command for creating an SVI is interface VLAN and then the VLAN number. In this case, I want to create for VLAN 5 first. Interface VLAN 5. Hit enter and SVI for VLAN 5 is created. Let's give it an IP address. I choose to assign the first usable IP address for each subnet in order to be their default gateway. So, for example, for subnet 192.168.1.0, the default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Let's assign it here. IP address 192.168.1.1. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, one SVI is created. Let's create another SVI for subnet that is in VLAN 10. Interface VLAN 10. Okay, let's give it an IP address. The default gateway for VLAN 10 is 192.168.2.1. 255.255.255.0 as the subnet mask. Okay, so SVIs are created. Let's confirm. I'll type do show IP interface brief. Okay, so let's go down. There are two SVIs created here, VLAN 5 and VLAN 10, and the IP addresses are assigned, and the state is also up. Note that if the VLANs are not configured on the layer 3 switch, these interface would be down. So make sure that the VLANs, the SVI that you create on layer 3 switch, the VLAN should be present. So SVIs are created, and now there is another command that I need to type in order to make SVIs to route between these two subnets. Although these SVIs are created, the PCs aren't able to ping each other yet. Let's confirm. I'm going to ping PCB again. So the pings have failed. It is because by default, layer 3 switches doesn't route between subnets. In order to make it routable, we need to type IP routing. So now when I hit enter, now layer 3 switch is able to route between subnets. Let's ping again. I'll type the IP address of PCB 192.168.1.2. Hit enter. Okay, we are getting reply. So the SVI configuration is done. Let's configure the IP address between layer 3 switch and the router, and also configure a default route to router from layer 3 switch. I'll go on layer 3 switch. Let's see which interface is connected. G02. Interface G02. IP address. Okay, by default, layer 3 switches are all layer 2 ports, which means they cannot get IP address. So in order to make it layer 3 interface, on interface configuration, we need to type the command no switch port. Okay, so now it is able to get IP address. Let's assign it the IP address 10.1.10.1. The subnet mask is /30 252. So the IP address is configured on layer 3 switch. Let's go to the router and configure IP address for the router as well. Okay, interface G02. Sorry, interface G01. IP address 10.1.10.2. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.252 and no shutdown. Okay, so let's configure a default route on layer 3 switch in order to route the traffic out. On global configuration mode, let's type IP route 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0. The next hop's IP address is G01 interface of the router. So it is 10.1.10.2. Hit enter, exit, and the default route is also configured. Let's confirm by typing a show command, show IP route. Okay, so a default route is configured. So this was all for today's lab. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next video.